I'm Liyana Hassanel, and this is Nightline, the top stories. PM calls on major private corporations to address low female representation in top leadership. And more illegal e-waste factories raided, with seizures worth over 130 million ringgit. The headlining story. Big private corporations should evaluate the reasons for the low women participation rate in their top echelons. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the private sector must bear part of the responsibility for promoting gender equality in the workforce. Anwar was speaking at the launch of the government celebration of Women's Day 2025 at World Trade Center in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday.
Sektor swasta, terutama syarikat-syarikat besar, syarikat-syarikat kerajaan, GLICS, harus mulai membuat penilaian mengapa di peringkat tertinggi jumlah wanita terlalu kecil. Jadi saya percaya Jemaah Menteri akan minta hal ini diberikan perhatian dan kita akan mendapat pelaporan. Kalaupun kurang, tidak harus dipaksakan diangkat sekarang, tetapi ada perencanaan yang teliti. Kerana kalau kerajaan tidak menunjukkan contoh permulaannya, saya fikir sukar digesa syarikat-syarikat swasta yang lain.
The government has taken steps to increase the number of female leaders in the public sector, and the Chief Secretary to the government had been urged to find ways to uplift female staff according to their capability. As national policies are geared towards digital transformation, women should also be given training opportunities in the relevant fields. According to Anwar, the government must ensure that women are taking part in technical and vocational education and training colleges, university courses, and company training programs. The US and Australian transport safety agencies have each appointed an accredited representative to provide technical aid in the renewed search for Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. The Transport Ministry stated on Saturday that both the US National Transportation Safety Board and Australian Transport Safety Bureau are assisting the search led by UK-based exploration firm Ocean Infinity. In a statement marking the 11th anniversary of the aircraft's disappearance, the ministry reaffirmed the government's commitment to resuming search efforts, viewing it as a solemn duty to pursue every credible lead in the hope of locating MH370's final resting place and providing answers to the victims' families and next of kin. The statement also emphasized that the cooperation of all parties is invaluable in this ongoing effort, which remains one of the most complex and challenging search operations in aviation history. The ministry also recognized the considerable public interest in the renewed search and is diligently finalizing a new search agreement in line with government procedures. Previously, the government agreed to accept a proposal from Ocean Infinity to resume search operations in a new area, covering approximately 15,000 square kilometers in the southern Indian Ocean. The operation will be conducted on a no-find, no-fee basis, meaning payment will only be made if the aircraft wreckage is found. MH370 vanished on March 8, 2014, while en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, with 239 people on board, comprising 227 passengers and 12 crew members. The details of the collaboration between Petroleum Sarawak Berhad, Petros and National Oil Company, Petroleum Nasional Berhad, Petronas, are still being worked out, with further discussions depending on the outcome of ongoing negotiations. Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof said Petros had submitted a letter to Petronas earlier this week to initiate discussions on key details, including commercial arrangements to ensure both entities operate in alignment. Fadilah said that if no decision is reached by both parties, negotiations involving Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg on the matter will be held.
Petros and Petronas work out all the details, termasuk the commercial arrangement, macam ni nak nak menterjemahkan undang-undang duit undang-undang yang boleh bergerak bersama, ya, the administrative and also the detailing part. It has to be worked out by both Petronas and Petros.
Petronas has yet to give its feedback after Petros submitted the proposal this week, touching on the way forward for the collaboration. Fadila stated that the negotiations include efforts by both oil companies to interpret the Petroleum Development Act and Sarawak's Oil Mining Ordinance. Recently, during a briefing session in the Dewan Rakyat, Anwar had said that the federal government acknowledges Sarawak's aspiration to venture into the oil and gas industry in the state. The government will formulate a long-term solution to ensure the supply of bottled cooking oil in the market, particularly from March to May. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali said that while the ministry recently announced an intervention measure to consider providing incentives to companies packaging bottled cooking oil, he views it only as a short-term solution.
Jadi 3 bulan ini adalah tempoh yang krusial. Ramadan, Aidilfitri, Gawai, Keamatan. Jadi kita mahu 3 bulan ini tidak ada isu dengan kita memberi insentif kepada syarikat-syarikat pembungkus supaya mereka membantu mereka supaya dia boleh terus mengeluarkan minyak kemasan botol.
Speaking after an event in Papar, Sabah on Saturday, the minister said the long-term solution is to balance industrial needs with consumer demand. Some bottled cooking oil packaging companies have had to cut production by up to 50% due to high crude palm oil prices. He said on Friday his ministry began engaging with those companies and will meet with them to formalize a mechanism early next week. Malaysia must look at developing homegrown artificial intelligence (AI) champions within the semiconductor industry and establish a robust local AI ecosystem. Digital Minister Gobind Singh Deo said AI adoption would not only enhance operational efficiency for semiconductor industry players, but also strengthen Malaysia's position as a global leader in the sector. According to the minister, to be a global AI-driven semiconductor hub, Malaysia must not only adopt AI technologies but also create them, adding that now is the time for Malaysian semiconductor players to take the lead in AI-driven innovation. He also stressed the importance of collaboration among semiconductor industry players, AI developers, research institutions, and policymakers, as success in this field requires a collective effort. Gobind added that the Malaysian government is committed to supporting businesses in their digital transformation journey. In December last year, the government established the National AI Office, NAIO, as a central authority to drive Malaysia's AI agenda. The NAIO was also established to provide the essential support, resources, and guidance to help the semiconductor industry harness AI effectively. Johor Police seized e-waste worth 23.8 million ringgit in a raid on an illegal processing factory in Kota Tinggi on Friday. The e-waste included plane component parts from an international airline company, as well as buckets of bullets and bullet casings. Johor Police Chief Superintendent Yusof Othman said, acting on intelligence, 20 personnel from the Kota Tinggi Police Headquarters raided the premises on Jalan Lombong at about 4 p.m. A Chinese national in his 50s and a married couple from Myanmar, aged 24 and 23 respectively, were also arrested. In the raid, police seized 46,000 kilograms of electronic components, 514 kilograms of aluminium and plastic, 104,000 kilograms of electronic components, and almost 23,000 kilograms of electrical wires. Also seized were 370,000 kilograms of copper, 29,000 kilograms of metal scrap, 43 iron hoops, and 10 barrels of tin balls and iron powder. Police also seized 7 buckets of bullet casings and 1 bucket of bullets. The plane components have been confiscated by the Kota Tinggi District Council for further action. Preliminary probe found that the premises had been operating illegally for 5 months, and authorities were trying to identify where the e-waste came from. Over in Pulau Pinang, the General Operations Force, GOF, arrested 3 individuals, including 2 Myanmar nationals, at a factory in Simpang Ampat for allegedly conducting electronic waste, e-waste recycling activities without a permit. Ulu Kinta Gulf Northern Brigade Commander SAC Shahrum Hashim said the inspection conducted last Wednesday revealed that the factory had been operating without any license or approval from the Department of Environment DOE. In a statement on Saturday, he said the factory also employed 2 foreign workers, including a woman, both without valid documents. During the inspection, the GOF team seized e-waste valued at 60.5 million ringgit and several other items, including machinery worth a total of 106.7 million ringgit. The enforcement team also raided a plastics factory in Sungkai near Tanjung Malim last Wednesday and arrested 19 foreigners, with a total seizure valued at 10.7 million ringgit. Probe is being conducted under the Immigration Act and the Environmental Quality Act. A man wanted by the police was killed in a shootout in Taman Molek, Johor Bahru early Saturday morning. Police said the 63-year-old suspect, who had a record of 14 criminal and drug-related offences, opened fire on officers after they stopped him for an inspection at 3:10 a.m. In a statement, Johor Police Chief Dato' M. Kumar said a police patrol team spotted the suspect behaving suspiciously while riding a motorcycle along Jalan Persiaran Bumi Hijau in Taman Molek before the shootout occurred. He added that the suspect fired several shots first, forcing authorities to return fire, killing the man at the scene. Kumar also said that police found a Smith & Wesson pistol on the ground near the suspect, along with 4 live bullets and 2 spent shell casings at the same location. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for attempted murder and the Firearms Increased Penalties Act for discharging a firearm and committing a scheduled offence. Police has raided 2 premises and seized 45 million ringgit worth of fireworks and firecrackers, as well as smuggled cigarettes over the past 2 days. In a statement, Federal Police Internal Security and Public Order Department Director Datuk Sri Azmi Abu Qasim said the 2 raids were carried out on Thursday and Friday. In Optaring Charlie on Thursday, police carried out a raid in Kapar, Klang and seized fireworks and firecrackers worth about 32.2 million ringgit. A 33-year-old man was arrested in the operation. The case is being investigated under the Explosives Act. In another operation codenamed Optaring Alpha 1 in Bukit Sentosa, Rawang on Friday, almost 13 million ringgit worth of cigarettes with unpaid duties were seized. A 46-year-old man who worked as the caretaker of the premises and also as the delivery man was arrested. The case is being investigated under the Customs Act. Since January 1st, his department has carried out 69 raids nationwide, in which 107 people were arrested for various offences, involving smuggling, leakage of controlled and subsidized items, sale of imitation weapons, wildlife smuggling, and e-waste operations, with a total value of more than 370 million ringgit. In Sabah, the public has been advised to stay away from the collapse site involving the first-floor structure of a shop lot at Complex Segama in Kota Kinabalu late Friday. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Kasim Muda said the restriction would remain in effect until investigations were completed and the area was declared safe. In a statement on Saturday, he said the police have also deployed 6 officers from the Kota Kinabalu police station to guard and secure the location. The Fire and Rescue Department is still investigating the exact cause of the incident and ensuring there are no additional risks to the public. In Friday's 8 p.m. incident, a 55-year-old woman sustained serious injuries when the ceiling of the building collapsed on her. The victim was in a restaurant on the ground floor of the premises when the floor above her collapsed. The woman is receiving treatment in hospital. The 2nd and 3rd floors, which housed 55 tenants, were evacuated as a precautionary measure. A temporary relief center has also been opened at the Kota Kinabalu Community Hall to accommodate affected residents. Roy King, one Arif, storms into Orleans Masters semi-finals. Sports after this breather.
Buat apa tu? Puasa yang yuk. Pagi-pagi dah buka apa ni yuk? Tahanlah sikit lapar tu, tapi kalau buka TV3 tak apa. Indahkan memori Ramadan bersama saya, Janani. Jaga hati, jaga mulut. Selamat berpuasa. Semoga bertahan sehingga Raya.
Penat, letih tu kan, tak boleh nak cakap, tak boleh nak luar. Sebab memang dah terbiasa dengan dia. Susah senang, kalau saya susah pun dia datang tolong. Dia susah pun saya yang ada, memang dah terbiasa. Jadi bila dia sakit tu saya rasa tanggungjawab saya. Sebelum mak meninggal pun, mak cakap apa jadi pun jangan tinggal dia. Mak suruh jaga, jadi pegang amanah mak.
Ibu dan ayah kecewa dengan Mia. Ibu percaya ke Mia? Tapi apa Mia buat?
Kau tak duduk dalam rumah tu, kau tak rasa. Apa guna rumah besar tapi tak bahagia?
I tak nak you involve lagi dalam masalah diorang. Diorang tu boleh abaikan I, tahu tak?
Jadi kena pergi, nanti dah lambat.
Hello, handsome.
Keluarga Itu, Jumaat hingga Ahad 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Burung kenari terbang ke awan, sinar jingga terangi awan, indahkan memori di bulan Ramadan di TV3 siaran pilihan. Dalam kesederhanaan kita capai kemuliaan, dalam kesabaran kita raih kemenangan. Salam Ramadan daripada saya, Fitri Yahya.
We're back with sports badminton, the 2025 Orleans Masters. National men's doubles pair, one Arif Junaidi and Yap Roy King, kept Malaysia's campaign alive in the tournament, battling past Taiwanese duo to reach the semi-finals on Saturday. The rising stars provided a bright spot for Malaysia, beating world number 9 Lee Jae-hui Yang Po Swan 21-19, 21-18. to mark the third consecutive win against the duo. However, Arif and Roy King are set to face tall order next, as they are set to take on world number 2 Liang Weiqiang and Wang Chang of China. Meanwhile, mixed doubles shuttler Cheng Su-yin faces a race against time to recover for her All-England debut after suffering an ankle injury in a freak accident at the Orleans Masters. The 21-year-old slipped on a staircase after her match on Thursday, forcing her and partner Hu Pangron to concede the quarter-final clash against Indonesia's Rehan Kusharjanto and Gloria Wijaya. The injury comes as a huge blow for the duo, who were showing fine form and looked capable of contending for the title. Moving on to football, the German Bundesliga. Mainz moved up to third in the standings on Friday with a 3-1 away win over Borussia Mönchengladbach. Paul Nebel opened the scoring for Mainz in the 39th minute when he slotted the ball into the bottom left corner, thanks to Lee Jae-sung's low cross from the left. Dominic Koch poked home for a 2-0 lead 3 minutes into the second half after Gladbach goalkeeper Jonas Omlin had saved his header off Nadim Amiri's chipped free kick over the top. The hosts were back in the game in the 73rd minute when Stefan Leiner capitalized on Mainz goalkeeper Robin Zentner's mistake and scored his first goal since 2023. However, Gladbach's comeback hopes lasted only 4 minutes before Amiri drilled the ball into the top right corner for the final 3-1 scoreline. Mainz now have 44 points from 25 games, 2 ahead Eintracht Frankfurt, who will move back into third place if they can beat Union Berlin at home on Sunday. Still on football, the Saudi Pro League. Cristiano Ronaldo's 926th career goal was not enough to secure victory for 10-man Al Nassr as they surrendered the lead in a 2-2 home draw with Al Shabab on Friday. Al Nassr, aiming to close the gap to the top three, found themselves behind in the 44th minute when Abdulrazak Hamdallah converted a penalty after Nawaf Bouchal fouled Daniel Pordes in the box. However, the hosts responded with two quick goals when Ayman Yahya tapped in the equaliser just before the interval, before the Portuguese star rifled a powerful shot into the roof of the net to complete the turnaround. The match took another twist when Al Nassr were reduced to 10 men, as Mohamed Al Fatil was shown a straight red card in the 52nd minute for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Al-Shabaab took full advantage of their numerical superiority, with Mohamed Al-Shrirek heading in the equaliser in the 66th minute. The result sees Al Nassr remain in 4th place with 48 points, 10 behind leaders Al-Ittihad. Cyclone Alfred sparks flood warnings in eastern Australia. The details when Nightline returns.
Burung kenari terbang ke awan, sinar jingga terangi awan, indahkan memori di bulan Ramadan di TV3 siaran pilihan. Dalam kesederhanaan kita capai kemuliaan. Dalam kesabaran, kita raih kemenangan. Salam Ramadan daripada saya, Fitri Yahya.
Ramadan ni, ada ke ahli klub gastrik?
Ni, lagipun ada gastrik.
Faham.
Bawa-bawa le bertaubat koma, nanti bukan pahala je lari, jodoh pun tak sudi. Rupa-rupanya awak tak puasa ya?
Saya puasa bang, saya makan ubat gastrik. Tak jadi.
Ramadan, I miss you. Ahad ini 10 malam, indahkan memori Ramadan di Cereka Ahad TV3 dan stream juga melalui tonton.
Dah lama tak tunjuk skill memasak. Ramadan tahun ni, jom indahkan memori bersama keluarga di dapur.
One pot lasagna, tapi jangan risau. Sangat-sangat mudah nak buat dalam menu sihat Ramadan.
So, idea akan cakap lah, sayang boleh tak kalau you masak? I say, you masak sedap. Betul sayang? Bukan macam tu sayang. Ya Allah, okey dah.
Anak mama masak apa tu?
Salam Ramadan, indahkan memori di TV3.
Janji dengan saya, layan dan hormat saya sebagai seorang isteri.
Aku memang sengaja simpan gambar tu.
Kau kejam, Nazir. Kau kejam.
Kau ingat kau boleh lari daripada aku? Ha? Susah sangat kan nak faham aku?
Demi maruah aku.
Sekali di dada, mulai 11 Mac, Isnin hingga Jumaat, 10 malam. Terbaru di Samarinda, TV3.
Welcome back. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, OIC, on Friday endorsed an Arab League counter-proposal to US President Donald Trump's controversial plan to take over Gaza and displace its residents. The decision by the 57-member grouping came at an emergency meeting in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, 3 days after the Arab League ratified the plan at a summit in Cairo. The Egyptian-crafted alternative to Trump's widely condemned takeover proposes to rebuild the Gaza Strip under the future administration of the Palestinian Authority. Egyptian Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati said the emergency ministerial meeting of the OIC adopted the Egyptian plan, which has now become an Arab Islamic plan. The counter-proposal, however, does not outline a role for Hamas, which controls Gaza. Meanwhile, Yemen's Houthi group have given Israel a 4-day deadline on Friday to allow humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, or it will resume naval operations against the Zionists. The group accused the Zionist regime of backtracking on commitments under a ceasefire deal, adding that Israel seeks to return to the policy of genocide through starvation in Gaza. The ultimatum signals a possible escalation from the rebel group after the assaults tailed off in January following a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Since November 2023, the Houthis in Yemen have launched missile and drone attacks on Israeli targets and Israeli-linked cargo ships in the Red Sea in solidarity with Gaza. The Zionist regime halted the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza on Sunday as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu refused to start negotiations on the second phase of a 3-phase ceasefire deal between Tel Aviv and Hamas. Ex-cyclone Alfred stalled off the rain and wind-lashed coast of eastern Australia on Saturday, threatening to unleash floods after blacking out more than 250,000 homes and businesses. According to the Bureau of Meteorology, the former tropical cyclone, now downgraded to a tropical depression, has battered the coastline with gale-force winds that toppled trees, brought down power lines and damaged buildings. It added that it was still creating heavy rainfall, swelling rivers in parts of a 400-kilometre stretch of the coast straddling southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. Authorities also warned that intense rainfall could lead to flash flooding and riverine flooding, which has now become the primary concern as the ex-cyclone moves inland. Alfred has blacked out more than 250,000 homes and businesses while prompting evacuation orders for thousands of people. No deaths have been reported so far, but authorities have urged residents to stay indoors. Myanmar's junta chief announced that the country would hold an election in December or January, the first since the military staged a coup in 2021. According to local media, General Min Aung Hlaing stated that they plan to hold the election in December 2025 or by January 2026. He stated that the vote would be free and fair, adding that 53 political parties had submitted their lists to participate. Despite this, critics have widely derided the promised polls as a sham to keep the generals in power through proxies, given that dozens of political parties have been banned and the junta has lost its grip over large parts of Myanmar. Prior to this, a report revealed that the junta was able to conduct a full on-the-ground census in only 145 of the country's 330 townships to prepare voter lists for the elections. South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol left a detention center in Seoul on Saturday after prosecutors decided not to appeal a court decision that cancelled the arrest warrant for the impeached leader. However, 64-year-old Yoon remains suspended from his duties, and his criminal and impeachment trials continue over his short-lived imposition of martial law on December 3rd. The Seoul Central District Court cancelled his arrest warrant on Friday, citing the timing of his indictment and questions about the legality of the investigation process. In a statement, Yoon expressed gratitude to the court, thanking them for the courage and determination in correcting what he called an illegal process. Earlier, as he left the facility, a relaxed and smiling Yoon stepped out of his car, waved, raised his fist, and bowed to cheering supporters, waving South Korean and U.S. flags. time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as kite surfers made the most of strong winds from ex-tropical cyclone Alfred, which lingered off the southeast Australian coast. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and be well, Malaysia.